The bad news is you need to sit down again and listen to speakers. The good news is it's not me. So I'd like to start our next session. This is basically talking about HVAC upstream programs in the state of California. And as I mentioned earlier, we have three perspectives: a utility person, a third-party provider, and a manufacturer. And so, excuse me, I'm going to start with Paul Thomas from SDGE, and I will let him, in the interest of time, introduce himself and tell you what you need to know.
Thanks, Mark. Hello, everyone. My name is Paul Thomas. I'm with SDGE. I lead the HVAC strategy effort there. I just joined SDGE back in January, and I'm really pleased to be here and appreciate everyone's time because I'm relatively new to the HVAC world. I've been around the energy efficiency programmatic world for, I think, close to 20 years now, but the HVAC stuff is new to me, and so as we develop our strategy for SDGE and we get into some statewide HVAC opportunities, I look forward to having some good conversations with folks out in the audience because I know that there's tremendous experience and knowledge gathered here today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a high-level review of our business plan because it pertains to HVAC efficiency plans in the state, and that's all going to make a little bit more sense as we go through it. And then Mark or Paul, are we doing questions throughout, or are we going to wait? I think we're going to have a panel, so.
We will have a panel. The plan would be 10:31. We're 15 minutes late. I would say let's have all three speakers, and then at the end, so keep your questions, and at the end you can have question any of the speakers.
Okay. All right. So we'll hold questions until the panel, and then we've got lots of time, I think, at the panel to have questions and discussion and dialogue, which is really what I'm here for. So I appreciate that. I've got two screens here, so I've got to balance between the two, so I stay on track. So just a little bit of background on SDGE. We've got a few other representatives here as well. We've got Kate Zhang, a manager of our Emerging Technologies, Codes and Standards programs. That's not her official title, but you can introduce yourself to her and she'll give you that. We also have Matt Smith right here. He's as part of the Emerging Technologies program for SDGE as well. And there's a few other folks in the audience that are from other investor-owned utilities if you want to get some additional perspectives. But SDGE, we're the southernmost utility way down near Mexico, right in California. And we've got 4,000 plus employees that safely serve clean, reliable energy to around 3.5 million customers. To give you an idea of scale, I mean, you can look at and understand the size of our system and all that. We're a relatively small utility in the state. But in 2015, our programs saved enough power to power more than 27,000 homes for a year, or take about 22,000 cars off the road, which is roughly equivalent to 234 million pounds of CO2. So we're very focused on energy efficiency and sustainability, and this is all very much in harmony with our mission. And our mission is this: we improve lives and communities by building the cleanest, safest, and most reliable energy company in America. Now, I just mentioned I'm new to SDGE, so I was a little bit taken aback when I saw our mission, and I thought, man, that's pretty bold. And it is. And from our executive leadership on down, it's purposefully bold because it's something that directly aligns with our customers, our external stakeholders, state regulatory bodies, and policymakers. So, all right. So now that I am have given you a little bit of background on SDGE and who we are, our changing energy efficiency landscape. So it's a really interesting time to be involved in energy efficiency in the state of California. I just came out of the consulting world, and one of the things that I said when I was talking to the managers and looking at opportunities was, you know, this is going to be a really neat time because we've got so many things that are changing in energy efficiency. So this slide shows a little bit about that, or speaks to that. But essentially what you're looking at is much longer program cycles to avoid the start and stop of programs, increased stakeholder collaboration, and significant changes to the way that programs are designed and implemented. And in particular, very relevant to today's conversation, statewide administration of certain programs. That's including all the upstream and midstream programs. And we'll get into that in just a little bit here. But I want you to kind of keep that in mind. So high level, this is the scale just for SDG&E. Every investor-owned utility in the state has also filed their own business plan for energy efficiency. This is, like I said, some high-level information from ours. You can see that it extends out to 2025, and which is a very long-term plan, and the budget remains static at about $116 million per year. You can all see the goals that are there, but if you look into our plan, and I encourage you to take a look at it, it provides a high-level discussion of where we're headed with energy efficiency programs. And it's not going to get into the weeds. It's not going to get into this program is going to do X, Y, and Z. That's yet to be developed, and that is going to be addressed in various implementation plans. But it does do, I think, a fairly nice job of giving a good portfolio overview, market overview, and you can look at, like I said, any of the investor-owned utilities business plans to kind of get an understanding or a sense of our respective markets. But some of the significant new requirements for what the investor-owned utilities are filing is that 60% of our budgets are allocated to programs that are designed and delivered by third parties. And so I'm going to take a brief pause and explain what this means here, because if you're familiar with our energy efficiency programs of the past, we've always had third-party involvement. We have third-party involvement right now. As a matter of fact, one of our implementers is going to speak after me. And so it's nothing new that we've worked with third-party implementers. But the key is the design and the development piece. So the utilities are being told by the California Public Utilities Commission, our regulator, to step back for a bit and allow the market to actually come in more aggressively and design these programs. So that's something that's really new. Historically, we've had some programs where third parties would come in and propose ideas, but a lot of the programs that we have implemented in the past have been ones that the utilities have come up with, ideas and concepts that the utilities have come up with, and then put out to bid to the market, and then implementers would propose how they would achieve the goals set forth in those different RFPs. The other significant thing is 25% of our budget is to be devoted to programs that will be administered statewide. And this is like, if you remember anything today, this is the kind of the key significant point, because never before have we worked on we've been in a place where one IOU would administer programs statewide and actually do work in terms of energy efficiency across other IOU service territories. So the first time ever, and it's pretty exciting, a little bit scary world. Historically, once again, we've always had statewide programs, and programs where they would be consistent somewhat from one utility to the next. But now we're talking about SDG&E actually implementing HVAC programs in PG&E service territory, in SCE service territory, so on and so forth. So that's a pretty significant thing, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. Sorry, guys, I think I was a little bit behind on between the two different slides, so. Did I put that one up there? No? Okay, good. All right. I got a little button happy here. All right, so like I said, statewide program administration for the first time we're doing this. And we have proposed to lead two efforts. So SDG&E is proposed as the lead for, let me see if I'm making sure I'm getting this right. Yep, I'm on the same slide. For upstream and midstream, residential and commercial programs, HVAC programs, and then residential quality installation and quality maintenance programs, which is a downstream pilot. You can see a little bit more on the screen about some of the language that came directly out of the decision, and that says that we're going to do this and we're going to do it statewide. But the question now is, like, we've got this all figured out, right? We're going to do statewide program administration and we've got it all figured out. Well, no, absolutely not. So what I'd say is I think that there's more questions than answers at this point. We're we're looking to develop answers to those questions as part of the process. But what do we know right now? So I'd say that what we know is that we're not, number one, officially the program administrator for these HVAC programs that I mentioned until we are it's approved by the commission, our regulatory. And this decision is not expected until late 2017. And then afterwards, we anticipate releasing an RFP or maybe perhaps multiple RFPs to actually get implementers to implement these programs statewide. But that's going to have to follow CPUC approval and RFP development, so on and so forth. But it very likely will be a third party, which is somewhat similar to the way the upstream and the downstream programs are run currently. And like I said, I do encourage you to look at the business plans statewide. I think that, I mean, they're big documents, but if you look in the portfolio overview, you can really glean a tremendous amount of information right there. And specific to HVAC, if you look at our portfolio overview, I think you'll get some good information. But a few highlights here from our business plan, and then I'll wrap it up and turn it over to Paul. So for upstream, midstream HVAC, we want to work more with manufacturers to identify greater savings opportunities. This may come from equipment that's better suited for California's climate. We heard Mark speaking to that a little bit earlier. To increase the market power, we're looking to collaborate beyond California, and so we'll now not only just have SDGE's market power, but the entire state, and then through collaborations with organizations like NEA, Northwest Energy Efficiency Alliance, increasing the market power across more on a regional basis. So that's something that we've been thinking about as well. Now for residential downstream, the quality installation, quality maintenance offering, we want to work to enhance cost effectiveness. We're not seeing very cost-effective offerings in that area right now, but we know that it's important from a market transformation standpoint. So we want to increase value for both customers and trade allies. And then once again, the most significant point, I think, maybe beyond the fact that this huge shift to statewide program administration, is that we're not designing the programs. So we're really looking forward to seeing what the folks out in the audience and beyond can propose, and the concepts that you can bring forward to do even better in terms of HVAC programs and push us closer towards our vision of market transformation in the future. So I think that is it. And at this point, we'll turn it over to Paul Kylo. Did you want to do an interlude?
No, but I guess the one thing, if you don't mind saying what midstream and upstream means.
Yeah. So, like I said, I'm relatively new to all of this, and I was a little bit confused when they said, oh, we're going to do this midstream, upstream. But the commission has officially defined it, and so upstream deals directly with the manufacturers. Midstream is with the distribution channel in terms of the distributors. So. Okay. So he's going to help us with that as well. But it's a good question because there has been some confusion historically about that, and there's a decision, the one that I cited on one of the slides, that actually defines what we're talking about when we mean by upstream and midstream. So.
Thanks. I know I wasn't supposed to ask questions, but I figured that one. That's why I'm in charge, right?
Exactly.